Welcome to the blueprint for the modern man. This is Rooted Kings.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Rooted Kings. This is Marcus Odum,
This is Dr. Kevin Lambert.
and got another extra special episode for you guys today. We wanted to kind of take it back a little bit and talk about like some of the things that are kind of going on in the current, kind of our job market, kind of the environment that we're in, and kind of how we navigate, especially as Black men trying to navigate this current situation. As you all know, a lot of these bigger companies right now have been laying guys off, laying people off. And a lot of folks have been trying to figure out like, hey, how do we make ends meet? And we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about a little bit into like just navigating your careers, and maybe even pivoting in certain ways. And then also trying to talk about like, some of the things that you may want to look into, like maybe upskilling and things like that. So please stay tuned, lock in as we get started here at Rooted Kings.
Forward to it.
All right. So, first thing, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, so man, it's hard out here in these streets, bro.
Man, it is hard out here in these streets.
Trying to figure out, how to find your way in a down economy, and trying to figure out how do I reinvent myself? How do I level up?
So before we get into the level up, my question for you is like, when we say down economy, it depends on who you are.
Well, that's a fact.
Because I was about to say, on a broader scale, they're going to say the economy is actually doing really, really well.
Well, in healthcare, it sure is. I mean,
right. And so they say it do really, really well. But again, it depends on like who you are. Because there are those who are in the know, in the loop, those who have, let's just say they're a little bit higher in on the socioeconomic scale. They're doing really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what industry. I mean, I'm kind of joking because there's aspects of healthcare that aren't doing as well. Matter of fact, even in my practice, in my profession, I'm hearing a lot of chatter around referrals being a little down because insurance costs have gone up, premiums have gone up, and then of course, just even having the expense, having the money to even put up for a doctor's visit or what have you, and the cost of eggs has gone up or whatever, right? So there's some things that have made the cost of living higher that even if you do have a solid income, like, you might be like, I don't know if we need to be going to therapy weekly. Maybe we need to do monthly. And so people start cutting back or even putting it off, right? And then you have instability of jobs, people getting laid off, downsizing because of AI or what have you. And so the companies people getting replaced.
Right.
And so now the company itself is booming because it's actually leveraging time with AI or what have you. But the people who were the mules, if you will, that were carrying it, they have become obsolete, if you will. So
and it's funny. So me working in the tech space, and especially when we talk about like AI, there's differing kind of positions on AI. Just so everybody knows, like when we talk about like, is AI potentially just a scapegoat for companies to use that as a tool to downsize? Like one of the things that I've been doing a lot of research recently is like, hey, coming out of, COVID, kind of a correction of sorts, because a lot of companies were over investing in their human capital. Now they have to kind of cut back because they over invested. There's a lot of things they got to do to kind of recoup some of their money, because again, a lot of these large organizations, their primary goal is what? To drive like, shareholder, interest and those things. In order to meet those numbers, sometimes one of the biggest things you cut back on is going to be human capital. Unfortunately, that's just how it is.
I mean, as a business owner, it's like you have overhead, and the overhead is you've got the facility, you've got the people, right? And you got the supplies or whatever, right? And those things you need a good amount of that, right? But if you can get it at a cheaper cost, you're gonna do that because it's just part of the game, right? You can't always increase your revenue. Sometimes you gotta make that profit margin by cutting down costs.
Yeah, you pull those levers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So understanding that if they have the opportunity to leverage AI to cut down costs, it would just be dumb not to, but they do it, of course, at their own peril, depending on their
Right.
education around AI, but also what is lost from not having personal touch in business, right?
Right.
And personal touch for the product, I mean, for the customer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or the product, actually, because the level of nuance and detail that only a human would be able to feel and experience can get lost in a lot of situations, right? I know my wife, it's like nails on a chalkboard when she hears an AI song as a musician, right? She's a vocalist and she has a beautiful voice, but she has an ear for music. And when she hears AI music, she like, turn that off. Like it,
Well,
insults her ears.
I tell you what, I'm right there with her. I get and I appreciate from a technological standpoint those type of advancements that someone can put together some really good poetry. You have tools and technology that you can take your poetry and then actually turn that into a song.
Yeah.
But the problem is I think the soul of it is what's important to me, the soul of the song, regardless of what type of song it is. Like, to your point, these are talking about human and human connections. And my biggest concern when we start talking about AI, even though I am a proponent of AI,
Me too.
there's elements of AI that I think are detrimental when they're abused.
Yeah.
So because, and I know you know this better than many, that we are social beings, we're social creatures.
Right.
And if you're so dependent and overly dependent on tools like AI, you start to see kind of a division where people are not actually communicating amongst themselves. We're not thinking independently. We're using and allowing those tools. And I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of what, by doing that and not actually critically thinking what will happen in the long run, all I'm going to say is Terminator, Skynet. And I'm gonna leave it at that, right? For all you guys that know, like a Terminator, the Schwarzenegger movie, right?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. But
no, I think it's, as we're looking at things transitioning, the people that are doing well in these changing times is the people that are getting out in front of it, taking advantage of the opportunities that exist. And then there's those that, not everybody is a trailblazer. And so some people are, that's not how they're wired. Not everybody can be a number one. We need number 2s and 3s and 4s, right? In order, actually, the 2s and 3s and 4s are the ones that allow the number one to get stuff done.
Yeah, everybody can't be number one, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's just sort of sometimes like the whole American dream of like, I'm gonna work for myself and I'm gonna call my own hours, and I'm like, they lied to you. They lied to you.
Well, and as you know, it sounds good until you're actually doing it. If you're not a true entrepreneur, like you don't have that real spirit, and it's a little different, right? It is a hustle. It is really real work. You do have to roll your sleeves up.
Right.
And those hours are not always a 9 to 5. Right. Sometimes they could be, 25/8.
Facts. Hey, as they say, I think it, I'm gonna get you sucker, like I'm gonna take the window or the stairs. Like literally, it's like realizing that, there is no easy way.
Right.
You just have to figure out what is the best way for you, right? And which actually, might be a good segue in regards to choices in regards to education, trying to figure out your career path, especially once you've already started on the way, and then now you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the next move and what's the next level for me? Did I make a wrong turn, a wrong choice to begin with? Us having like kids in college right now, and they're trying to figure out. I mean, isn't it crazy that we like actually make some of the most important decisions in our lives when we don't know a doggone thing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be 17, 18 years old, and you're trying to pick your major, which is going to determine what your job is for the next 40 years or whatever. That's crazy.
It is crazy. And the reality is, for a number of people, you think you knew what you wanted to do. And then there's pivots in your career as well, like when you're going to school.
Yeah.
So I got a quick question before we get into college and education, if you don't mind, I'd like to
Sure.
back up a little bit. We were talking about like the whole like, unemployment, a lot of people losing jobs, and just kind of the psychology behind those people when you lose your job, especially as, I won't even say men, like women as well. Like when
Mhm.
you lose, especially you're at a place of employment and you've kind of dedicated yourself
Right.
to that organization. Organization made a business decision to move on
Yeah.
without you and transition you out. Like, what are some of the things that people can do to cope? We're definitely going to get to the education people. I want to
Yeah.
just,
That's a
to
great.
go
It's
to
great.
our listeners and our viewers. I really want, to talk about like some of the things that they can do to kind of navigate that, because it is a shock.
Yeah.
Like, when you hear or you find out, either you get an email or you're on a group chat or you're on like some video conference thing. I've heard it all where
Mhm.
people, say, hey, I was let go.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And the first, obviously, things people are trying to figure out how I'm gonna put food on my table, how we're gonna be able to survive, so on and so forth. So if you don't mind shedding a little bit of light
Yeah.
on
You
how
know,
to navigate that.
okay, so I'm gonna talk about this bidirectionally because
Yeah.
there's two very important things to look at when it comes to this stuff, because I think sometimes a lot of times people turn it into a personal
Mhm.
um, issue that will cause people to swing to different polar
Mhm.
extremes of looking at this. So I would encourage, first off, to have a balanced perspective of understanding this is this is the situation.
Mhm.
This is the situation as an employee. This is the situation as an employer. This is the situation as the uh, benefactor or sponsor, and this is the perspective of the creative. And a lot of times, it feels sometimes like there are conflicting agendas, or there's a
Right.
lack of, we'll say, loyalty or respect or what have you. Uh, and unfortunately, we don't know how to have healthy dialogue around, listen, this is the situation, and there's truth on both sides of this. And like, we need to operate with respect to, if I'm a one,
Mhm.
I'm a leader, I'm a creator, I can't get it done and I can't sustain my success without the right people around me,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? I have to have the proper supports. I have to have the proper financing. Um, but if I don't have what I need to make those adjustments, and I need to make them quickly.
Right.
Otherwise, it's done for all of us.
Right. Right.
On the other side of that, right, I need a place where I can feel safe, I can have consistency, I can create
Mhm.
stability for my family. Um, I can feel good about what I'm doing day in, day out,
Right.
and not feel like the bottom's going to drop. You know what I mean? I need to feel like there is some value to what I'm offering to the world, right?
Right.
And if I have another opportunity that would serve that purpose,
Mhm.
I'm out.
Right.
Like, I'm moving on to the next thing, just like I would expect you as the employer to say, this would better serve us. Sorry, you're out. Either way, it could happen
Right.
where we're making judgments on both sides of the equation based upon the needs that exist.
Mhm.
And so I would, when I say look at this bidirectionally, be able to appreciate, okay, this is uh this is frustrating, disappointing, or what have
Mhm.
you, that somebody quit on you, or somebody let you go despite your years of service.
Mhm.
And you have to grieve the loss of that relationship, that connection, that way of life even,
Right.
and figure out your next steps. I mean, nobody likes change and nobody likes correction,
Right.
but it's part of life,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so being able to not overly guard yourself, where now, okay, I'm going to go in this and I'm only going to give what's required. Well, then you don't get the promotion, because you basically disqualified yourself, because
Mhm.
they know that they're not getting a full
Right.
effort. And then on the other
Right.
side, well, I'm going to guard my pennies and I'm not going to invest in my people. Well, they're going to feel that too. And they're going to, you see what I'm
Right.
saying? Just like being able to see things on both sides of that equation and try to find a match
Mhm. Mhm.
where the work itself and the work itself is fulfilling and the compensation is fair.
Right.
And we have a relationship where everybody feels like they're able to grow and fulfill purpose, if that's for a reason, season, or lifetime, if you will, right? And so being able to assess, like, man, this job is going to be a stair step,
Right.
and this job, no, I think I could rock with these folks for a minute, right?
But what if, like, let's just say, we've gone through those things and we have those experiences, those highs and lows in these companies, but
Yeah.
you find yourself, you just was told you're out of a job, you just got off the call, and now that initial shock kicks in. As an individual, like, what are some of the things that you recommend that they do, like, as far as like, hey, how to cope? Because to your point, yes, it's a loss of relationship. You're kind of going through a grieving phase, or essentially, like, how should someone, like, kind of cope with that and manage that, and again, manage and assess that initial shock?
So it's almost like a bad breakup that you didn't see coming. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to be with you no more, and I just, moved you out.
Wait, you cheating on me?
Right, exactly.
Who is
like,
it?
Right,
What's
you
his
already
name?
you already got a new person in my spot, right? And you're like, I'm sorry, you're gone, you're out.
Oh man.
So I would say, first, like, is understandable that you are experiencing pain and grief, and try to find a way to go and woosah somewhere, right? Release that somewhere healthy, right? Because whoever it is that is causing that pain, you may not be in a place where your amygdala, your fight, flight, or freeze part of your brain is going to let you act right, if you will, right? So you need to go someplace where you can be comforted and you can have time to grieve. And so I would minimize interaction with whoever you feel like is causing it. And if you blame yourself, right, finding some place where you're going to be, around people who are going to affirm you, encourage you. For me, I'm going to go, pound a basketball. I'm gonna go, punch a pillow, or do something to kind of physically get it out, and express my frustration. And I'm gonna talk to people that I know will hear me out, and then, but not fan the fire. Like, they'll be like, all right, I hear you, but come on, let's.
So I would take, so the audience, like, definitely you want to find your people, right? The people that support, can give you that comfort. But I think that's an important factor. Like, don't fan the fire, don't get around a bunch of people like, if I was there, I would have done ... Like, we don't, I get it.
That's
because that's it.
I would have told.
I would have, because the thing is, number one, they're not there, but number two, regardless of the situation, it's not going to fix the problem. And the problem right now is, like, trying to pass on from something that was really, in certain situations, it's catastrophic. And, to you and your being, in some cases, especially like for guys, that's how we kind of position ourselves as a value within our familiar structures, right? So if we're sitting there and we're like, man, my job is to be the provider, and now I don't have the ability to provide. Now it's like, oh shoot, yes, I lost my ability to provide, and now I potentially may not be of much value to our family. And it's like, how do we do that? And that's what I was like, so how do we cope, especially guys specifically? Like, what are some of those things? Because I know it's, I hate to say it's a lot of fellas out here that lost their jobs, and they're really trying to figure out, like, hey, what's next? What should I do?
I mean, you gotta, I'm obviously, find positive outlets to affirm you, but also not incite more, like, just anger, resentment, or what have you. Because I mean, it's natural to feel that at first. And like I was saying originally, like, you gotta see both sides of it. Which might be hard at first, right? But to try to get to that point where you could see both sides of it, as an employer, and having to transition people almost every year, mostly because they're students or they're people that came and trained with me and went on to go and do their own thing. But sometimes people, they want to stay, and and I have to tell them, no, you can't. It's time for you to go. And so that's stressful. It's stressful for somebody that actually cares about people.
Right.
But also it's stressful because I understand what they might be feeling on the other end of it. And I understand that they might feel like I'm being mean to them or devaluing them. No, I'm just doing what's best for my company as I see it. You might even disagree with that, but I'm just doing what I think is best. And I no longer think what's best is to have you here. and so that doesn't feel good.
Right.
But it's the truth, and that's just and it's the decision is not negotiable, right? So then, I think that if I'm on the other end receiving that, it's okay. Well, so what does this mean for me? All right. So the first, I need to take care of myself and regulate myself and soothe myself. Secondly, I need to take a long look at, okay, how much of this do I own in regards to protecting myself from being in these situations anytime in the near future. And that takes humility, either to take a really hard look, because not just like how you made mistakes in the position, but more in regards to, maybe I'm not even doing something I should be doing. Maybe I could have pursued a different career path, or maybe there were red flags, even, being under certain bosses or being with certain companies. Maybe some things that I noticed in hindsight, I'm like, I should have known that this was likely to happen, or that I saw some things, but I blew it off. And so take those lessons, as opposed to like getting mad about it, but just say, okay, I've learned that I need to watch out for this, or I need to move a little differently going forward, right? And that hopefully will inform your next steps, if you will, right? Now you're dusting off your resume, or going back to school, or getting some mentorship, because mentorship is huge, not only from a networking standpoint, because your mentors who you respect and have influence and power in a space that you're interested in, they can oftentimes even hand you a job or connect you with somebody who has one.
Well, and I think that's important what you just said, as far as like not just the mentor piece, because I firmly believe like having a mentor, if anyone has worked with me, be it I reported to, or my direct reports, I always say have at least two mentors, one within the organization, and number two, one is outside. Obviously, to have access and visibility within the broader market, entire workspace, and then also within our existing company. But one of the things that you were talking about, as far as like the recovery, I just want to dig into the recovery part a little bit. Like, I think you're really getting us to a place where we start to kind of process and it's effectively, like a better term, reconcile, like process, like kind of what's going on. But what are some of those things immediately that we could do? I heard you start talking about like, hey, we start looking at reevaluating our skills, taking a look and inventory about, what we've done thus far in our careers, and where do we want to go? So can you just kind of shed a little bit of light on what are some of the things that we can do now that we process, what are some of those next steps? Because I heard I'm gonna
go full Dr. Lambert.
Okay, let's go full.
All right,
Dr.
so
Lambert.
I'm imagine you're my client.
Okay.
And you just came in and you said, Dr. Lambert, I just lost my job. I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to basically express my condolences. It's the natural response. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you, because it's a loss.
Okay.
Right. Even if you were coming in the previous 4 or 5 sessions saying how much you hated it there, I'm gonna be like, man, but this is a loss of income. It's a loss of security. For some people, it's a loss of identity, right? A lot of people, I'm sorry, not some, a lot, especially for us men. It's a huge piece of our identity, that we see ourselves largely as we are what we do, right? But first thing that when we first meet a brother on the street, it's like, hey, what's going on? Like, what do you do?
What do you do?
Right? because I want to know what your purpose is in the community and what your gifting is, because now I'm going to relate to you according to that. It tells me a lot about you. Women, they relate more in regards to who your people are, who you know,
Right.
etc. So
Right.
it's more social and more a matter of relationship.
Right.
But us men, it's about what are you doing, right?
What are you doing, and what value does this interaction give me? And what I was saying
Yeah,
about that, because and I catch myself doing this, like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you work for, okay, I'm making connections, because I could basically build on top of that. Can I build? Is it giving something to me, or is it taking away
right.
potentially? Yeah.
100%. So the first thing I'm going to do is acknowledge that there are at least 3 areas of your life that are potentially impacted: your identity, your income, your relationships with your family, and whoever has been counting on you to be um, your best self, or to be affirmed in those first 2 areas of being able to provide and being able to um, feel like a sense of purpose or
Right.
whatever when you get up in the morning. And so, man, it's like, oh, okay. So um, the next thing I'm going to want to know is, like, did you see it coming? Because just like somebody losing a loved one, it hits different when it's sudden versus when I knew that they had been sick for a while.
Right.
So
Right.
I've been on a PIP. I've been going back and forth with my boss. It's like, okay, we knew this
Yeah.
was coming.
Yeah.
Doesn't invalidate the pain of it actually being a reality,
Right.
but at least it hits different,
Mhm.
right? Okay, we knew this might happen. It finally did happen. All right, so if you're seeing me, I'm seeing that writing on the wall, and especially if I hear the word PIP, I'm like,
Oh
hey,
man.
dust out that resume
Yeah.
and let's get
It's about
ready,
time. It's
because
about time. Yeah.
even if it don't happen, you need to be ready to make your move, because you're not going too many
Yeah,
places.
because they're already making their move. The business, the
Exactly.
company's making their move.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, if you're constantly on the hot seat, you're constantly getting scolded, written up, it's gonna happen sooner or later. And so let's prepare for the reality that this is going to come to an end.
Correct.
Now, if it's sudden, they decided to do restructuring, as they like to call it, right? They decided to go a different direction. Okay. Um, Again, have we been preparing? Did you see the writing on the wall? Right. Secondly, if this just completely blindsided you, okay, well, so we need to take a moment to overcome the shock of this.
Correct. Yeah.
You can't just jump into a new situation, because you're going to end up hurting people, because you're not ready to go into another situation. You're still in, like, trauma mode. Like, it's like, you're shook up, right? So we got to get you right. So let's process the shock of this. Let's process the impact of this, and let's figure out how to get you back to your center. And what are the things that help you get back to your center? I mean, maybe your faith and your spirituality. Could be like spending some extra time with your loved ones and seeing this as an opportunity to really connect with your family more. What ways can you find purpose in your home, especially if you're a father, or a husband and a father? Let's figure out how you can play a role in regards to being able to step up a little bit more in the home, where it feels like this is a blessing
Right.
that you are now more present, or what have you. And then um, and then making sure that we start to really, okay, should you go and find another company like that just so you can replace the income, or
Right.
should you, like, just take a minute to, like, really evaluate, we talk about it from a spiritual standpoint, like, what does God desire? Like, maybe he's allowing this to happen on
Right.
purpose, because you need to sit your butt down at
Yeah.
home, and he needs
Yeah.
to, like, sit you down for a minute, or maybe there is a different direction he's taking you, and so that thing had to go away
Right.
in order for you to be able to push you over into a new direction. So let's take a time and make sure that we are tapping into that. And then some of that might also be like, okay, I've tried doing it the conventional way,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always wanted to do this. Maybe now is the time
Now is the
to
time.
go
Yes.
and do this
Have the
because
space.
I have the space, I have the
Yeah.
time, and I'm maybe more motivated now because I don't have the excuses of the things
Right.
that were holding me back. Oh, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, you don't.
Not anymore.
Now
right?
you can do what you always said you wanted to do, and so you can lock into that. Now, entrepreneurship ain't for everybody. You will work if you're going to be successful in entrepreneurship. You're going to work 10 times harder for yourself than you would for anybody else.
Right.
For two reasons: one, you ain't got nobody else to blame for your failure, and number two, it's your baby. So you're gonna put your foot in it because it is literally like birthing a child. You will be up late. You will cry about it.
Hold on.
You
now.
will
I
talk
think
about it.
if our lady listeners, they're gonna
Yeah.
question that. They're like,
Yeah.
how do you know what it's like birthing a
Listen,
child?
listen.
Come on, Doc. What do you know
Listen.
about that, man?
Hey, listen. I don't know what it was about it physically, but having raised two kids and the way I worry
Emotional
about my
toll.
daughters, I worry about my business the same way. I worry about the success of it. I worry about the people in it. You know, and you got to go through all the ups and downs that come with the growing pains of trying to be a better leader for them, and then still trying to make some hard decisions, if you will. So yeah.
So I find it interesting because I think you went through a bunch of questions that you asked someone.
Yeah.
If you have a client who comes in and said they lost their job, it was a question I didn't actually hear you ask though. So now that you lost your job, are you coming back next week? Because I got bills to pay too.
Well, usually there's this nice thing called Cobra.
Cobra?
You know, usually
It ain't nothing nice about Cobra. Man, okay, whoever came up with Cobra, see me. It's nothing nice about Cobra. The only thing that Cobra do is take your money at a faster clip.
Yeah,
Man.
well, that's true. You know, but you know, there are, depending on some of these situations, right? If there are clients that I have floated and said, you know what, you can come for a copay. And you know, until you get to your next thing, you know, especially when they're blindsided by it, and it's like my money's gonna be short. Either I need to stop treatment, or I'm like, not now. Not when you just got your world turned upside down. You need support now more than ever. So, you're like, listen, like, I call it goodwill, right? It's like, I'm gonna invest in you by letting you come for our copay, and you know, you can pay me on the back end by us being able to like celebrate the success on the other side of this. And so,
That's
you know,
awesome.
yeah,
That's
I mean, I might say, hey, you know, you can see one of my associates or one of my student clinicians or whatever, because I only have so much room for that. Because yeah, to your point, I do have bills to pay,
I'm just saying.
but nonetheless, I wouldn't want somebody to go completely without, because to me that's prioritizing the money over the care. And so I wouldn't want to just drop somebody like that if I could avoid it.
Seems like a real test of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because you're talking about like you got those basic necessities, and you know, I kind of believe like your personal health would be fundamental, and the sacrifice of personal health, like you said, for money or financial situations. Like that's a tough, but it's a reality though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, sometimes things like, you know, coming to you in your practice, they may have to cut that out because it's a difference of, hey, do I put food on the table or do I go get this help that I need at the same time? It's tough.
No, I mean, it's that's why I always encourage people to see it both ways. Like, make sure that you're looking at it on both sides. You know, like, could things have been handled better? I'm sure, but understanding that there are not necessarily competing agendas, but they are equally valid agendas that need to be appreciated, if you will. It's like, okay, I understand y'all are trying to cut costs, and given the criteria in which what you're cutting, the fat that you're cutting, at least I might not agree with the fat. I don't believe that I belong in the fat. But you trying to get lean, Six Sigma, whatever, right? You're trying to get lean so that you can go to the shareholders
Mm-hmm.
and show them that it's worth investing more in the stock, that's the game you're playing.
Right.
So I have to understand that that's how it's going to be. And so it's like, okay, let me figure out what I need to do with respect to that, if you will.
So one of the things, and just to change up a little bit, you spoke really early on about like making potentially a career shift.
Yeah.
So you're out of one job or you have a career path, you hit a screeching halt or maybe a speed bump, and now you have an opportunity to go back and reevaluate, like as part of these phases, a career shift. Can you talk a little bit about that, like making said pivots?
Okay, so one thing I would do, like let's say we're moving into another career path.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we have AI and we have all kinds of internets
we do
be able to educate us on the different career paths. One thing that we offer at Great Life, little plug, is career testing. And so you can have your clinician take you through some tests that we do what's called like the strong interest inventory, which looks at like what your interests are.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Myers-Briggs, which basically looks at your personality type.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another thing that's called like a confidence profile. And so confidence skills profile. So if you think about it, like when I do it, I do all three together.
Mm-hmm.
The Myers-Briggs says people with your personality like these type of careers.
Mm-hmm.
The skills confidence profile says these are the skills that you believe that you are good at, right? That you have to offer. And then the interest in it, these are the things that I'm interested in and that I wouldn't mind doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look for overlap between the three: your personality, your current skill set, and your interests. And when I see the overlap, it's like a safe bet you're gonna probably be not only successful but
Mm-hmm.
happy doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
And the skills one is the least of them, because if your personality and your interests line up, you can go get skills.
Right.
You can go back to school. You can go be an apprentice. You can pick those things up if willing to do the work of getting a certification or what have you. So skills is something that you can go pick that up if if you have the funds or
or
whatever.
not. Like I think I see like there are like different schools now that actually subsidize. Say for instance, if you're out of a job, you lost your job, they'll help you upskill in certain areas as well. And then to your point earlier, as far as like there's a wealth of online resources. About a year ago, I came across a product that Google had, this Notebook LM, and I know it's kind of matured over the years, but it was just completely fascinating to me, where you can actually take a subject or topic and Notebook LM will actually create courses and knowledge for you, where you can actually take, it does quizzes for you. It can actually have a conversation with you about the topic. And it's a way you can actually rapidly learn a topic really, really quickly. And so, it's interesting because when we talk about that, and it's a faster and there's an easier way now. Like we have access to such a wealth of information that you can secure that knowledge and those skills quite rapidly. But I would like to flip this just a little bit when we're talking about skills, because we spoke about AI, we spoke about losing jobs. We do know there's kind of certain white collar jobs that will kind of diminish over time. But we're also starting to see an advancement in people investing their time on maybe something that's a little bit more blue collar. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Like trades?
Yeah, like trades. It's been
I mean, I had to have the HVAC guy come out to the house. Man, bro, broke me, bro. I'm like, especially here in Texas. So, bruh. And like, listen, you gonna pay this bill or you gonna be hot?
Or you sweat.
You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be
like,
one or the other.
It's like, there ain't really You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally got me by the short and curlies, bro. I ain't got no choice but to pay this bill. Like, cause what I'm not gonna do is have my wife sweating her hair out. So,
Man, you don't want that smoke, man. Hey, you fellas, I already know nobody want that smoke.
Yeah. So I'm like, listen, all right, we're gonna go ahead and pay this bill. So, you know, HVAC, plumbing, you know, these are things that ain't going away no time soon. I
absolutely
mean,
not.
You know, and so picking up these trades, if you're somebody that works well with your hands, you know, people need stuff to be fixed up. You know, contracting. I know a lot of people that are getting into real estate and trying to, not just in terms of like a realtor, but more on the side of fixing up houses, fixing up, you know, doing like smaller construction projects and whatnot. There's a lot of money in that, and there's a lot of stability in that, because it's always going to be a thing, you know.
And we got a cheat code in Texas too. Like, you know, the amount of growth in this area, you do see a lot of construction projects.
Right.
And then on top of that, when we were talking about AI, like one of the things, and fellas, like definitely, you know, take note that with AI, you see this proliferation of data centers, and those data centers don't build themselves, right? So now you see a lot of companies investing in those data centers, renewable energy sources to help supply those data centers. You know, make coolant, water systems, things like that. All of those things are rapidly becoming of interest. There's significant amount of investment. So as if you are in a space where you're looking to move out of maybe a knowledge space and you don't mind getting your hands a little dirty, they are paying pretty good, like top dollar. And the beauty about all of that, you know, especially for those younger men who may not have any desire to go to college, you can actually now go and get that skill, go through those trades and build up those skills and do pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, especially if you in Texas, especially if you're fluent in Spanish too. I mean, that's a huge advantage there. You know, shout out to our barbershop guys, man. Like, you know, think I'm talking about trades. I mean, like, who's not gonna want a haircut? Who's not gonna want, you know, different cosmetic things like that? That's not going anywhere.
No, AI does not cut hair.
Right.
And if it does, I don't want any part of it.
Right.
And they
My bad.
Man,
you know,
mess around and give me those Wesley Snipes off of New Jack City, man. Demolition Man haircuts, man. I'm good.
Right. Well, and the thing is too, is that your barber not only provides a nice haircut that helps you with your self-esteem and feel good about yourself, but they also are offering conversation. And so, you know, AI will never be able to replace that, you know.
No.
And so being able to have certain trades that, you know, even if that's your side hustle, it's a great way to kind of support yourself. You know, being able to provide information. You know, like we were doing a podcast. You know, people do different things that are accessible, and you can try and see if you have a talent for those different things. And that's the cool thing about change, is that it creates opportunity for you to consider all of the things that you've always wanted to do.
Right.
You know, and so I would encourage folks, you know, if I was working with somebody, to like see the blessing in it. But obviously we can't pivot like too soon on that, because sometimes when people are grieving, it's almost like you're uncomfortable with me being sad, so you're trying to rush me through my sadness, and that's not cool. So it's just like, I got to go at your pace and appreciate that. Nah, man, it's a big blow,
right?
You know, and I'm here for you, and let's just kind of talk about it and make sure I understand how this is impacting you and impacting the people you love.
Right.
But when you're ready to start talking about how we're gonna move forward, you know, I'm willing to brainstorm with you and support you in that as well.
No, I love it, and actually I want to take us out on it, because I love how you just said that. So fellas, again, if you're in a position where you lost your job, or even if you know someone who lost their job, like guys, it's not the end of the world. It is going to be a very uncomfortable situation for many, but it's not the end of the world. It's now a great opportunity for you to take a look at, as Dr. Lambert has been sharing, like different perspectives. Take a step back. Look at, some of the things that you always wanted to do, and now you may have the opportunity to do that. Learn a skill. Go and take and find those happy places. Even like Dr. Lambert said, go punch a pillow. Okay.
Right. Not a wall, because that's a medical bill, or a construction
bill. Right. You're gonna help put some money in the person that went and did the skill on wall repair pocket, right? And it's out of your pocket into theirs. But fellas, no, we are here for you. We understand as far as these economic times that sometimes everyone's not winning. There are some people that are not just in the space. I won't call you losers. You're just not in the place that you would like to be, but we're here to help. We're here to support.
Yeah.
So again, take time out for yourself. It is a grieving moment, but grieve in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Talk to people, find your support circle to help support you guys from here moving forward. And then have that plan again, be it a career position or shift, upskilling somewhere, or even establish some hobbies that you would like to do. And for those who got that entrepreneurial, spirit, and you really want to take a crack at it, why not? Now is the best time to do that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
With that said, guys, this again is Marcus Odum.
This is Dr. Kevin Lambert.
Hey guys, this is Rooted Kings. Y'all go out there, be safe, fellas. We'll see y'all next time.